lost its last 2 games after leading at the half. At 1-5 in the conference, their game and their season, Clark, can really be reduced to its most basic level. They just can't shoot the ball well.
Well, that's a very important part of this game, putting the ball in the hole. They're only shooting 39% from the floor. But if they're going to have a chance tonight, they've got a guy that can put numbers on the board, and that's Michael Smith. Leads the team in scoring and rebounding. Here you see him finishing in transition. He has to get the ball early and often for the Friars to have an opportunity to win tonight. There you see he's a big-time glass eater, averaging just under 10 boards a game.
And that might be an Achilles heel for UConn. Normally a great defensive team, but Georgetown last Monday had an easy time scoring inside.
Well, UConn doesn't have a physical presence inside. They're giving up 50% field goal percentage to the opposition, so certainly you would think Providence might try to take advantage of that. Expect UConn to show you a lot of trapping half-court and full-court zone defenses tonight.
And as disappointing as UConn's loss was to Georgetown, their backcourt had a very good offensive night.
Well, you talk Brian Fair and Kevin Ollie. Ollie had 15 points and 10 dimes with 1 turnover. Brian Fair, an excellent marksman behind the three-point arc. He's been shooting it well lately.
All right, UConn at 3-3, hoping to get back on track here at home on campus. Providence 1-5 in dire need of a conference win. And we'll have the game coming up for you after these words from your local station. That's highlighted.
No question about it, Ted, when you look at giving up the opposition 50 and 49% field goal percentage, respectively. That's a number that's too high. Providence, an excellent rebounding team, and they get plenty of opportunities by virtue of shooting only 39% from the floor.
And you see that Providence has never won a game in stores, either at the Fieldhouse or here in Gamble Pavilion. UConn has only lost 2 Big East games in this building. And it's going to be Alosa getting to the loose ball right off the tap. Matt Alosa getting a start. It's the first 2 up.
Always a bonus when you can get the jump ball and get a layup right on the heels of it. You know, diagram a play to score on the jump ball, and if you get an easy deuce, count it as a bonus.
Rick Barnes changing his backcourt to start this game with Abdullah and Alosa there. Morrell hits.
Here comes the full court pressure. Very important for both of these teams to get off to good, solid shooting starts.
Oh, and there's Alosa knocking a 3 down. Boy, would that help a Providence team that has gone through some bad offensive droughts in recent games.
Well, you talk about shooting the basketball, and obviously you talk repetition, you talk mechanics, but you also have to talk confidence. And when you're not shooting it well, you start hanging your head, you start alligator arming your shots, and the problem just compounds itself.
Abdullah is in the game to run the show, but Alosa is a guy that can hit the shot. 25 on the shot clock for UConn. Morrell sets up Fair. Brian Fair starting to shoot the ball well over the last 5 games.
Well, if he's on balance, he's an outstanding shooter. There aren't very many good shooters that can shoot it consistently well without their legs under them.
Whoa, Danielle Marshall almost got that, but by going for the block, he left Turner on the boards.
You know, these Friars are big-time offensive glass eaters.
It's going to come back to UConn. #1 rebounding team in the Big East. They were the 4th best rebounding team in the country last year.
Very quick and active to the basketball.
Good screen set up for Fair. The glass to Providence. Abdullah. Turner. There's a good block out by Donnie Marshall. No numbers there, but Ollie goes right in and a reach and a foul on Abdullah.
One of the best times to penetrate is in transition. Somewhat of delayed break. Ollie gets the lane. Abdullah reaches in and commits the foul. But often when the defense is transitioning back, people are unsettled and trying to get to their men. With good ball reversal, you've got an opportunity to put it on the floor and get to the hole.
Marshall. And Michael Smith leads Alosa. Providence pulls it back out. Friars up 3, 2.5 minutes in. Now look at the aggressive move there by Simpkins, and somehow Smith got another shot. But Danielle Marshall out, and a foul on Alosa. Trying to get in the way, and he is nailed.
If you're the Friars, you have to love this start. You get it to your leading scorer. He's got a good look at it, point blank range, no go, and then good work on the glass. And I think Michael Smith lost track of exactly where he was on the putback attempt. And then finally Marshall pulled it out of there.
And if you're Jim Calhoun, you don't like that replay, because you saw Smith and Simpkins just kind of push Danielle Marshall right out of the play. Simpkins up with the steal.
Marshall is an excellent rebounder, but he is prone to being pushed around by bigger and stronger players.
Oh, great feed. Alosa heads up to Michael Smith.
You know, we showed that graphic. Providence 0-9 here in Gamble. They've lost 5 of the last 6, including 2 straight, but 3 of the 5 games recently have gone to overtime. So the Friars may be a little more confident coming in here against this team than they might be against some other squads in the Big East. They know they've played them tough over the last few meetings.
Charge on Danielle Marshall, and now Oliver Macklin is in for the first time for UConn, and the Huskies tonight will be without 2 key reserves. Covington Cormier suspended for 1 game for a violation of team rules. He will play Tuesday at Miami, but not tonight. And Eric Hayward out with a bad ankle. Macklin hadn't played an awful lot. He's getting early minutes.
You talk about the absence of Hayward. He's the biggest body that the Huskies can throw at you when you talk height and width. And against a team like Providence that bangs the boards, his presence will be missed.
Ollie snaking in. Tony Turner hammers it. The sophomore from Los Angeles, who comes off a career-high game against Georgetown Monday night. Ollie will be back at the line. Get a point guard who doesn't score much, and Ollie hasn't scored an awful lot. He gets a career game like he did Monday. Does he start thinking all of a sudden, boy, maybe I can score a little bit?
No, I don't think so. He probably was able to just take things in the flow in that up-tempo game against Georgetown. I think he really excels when the game is up-tempo and he's got an opportunity to snake, as you say, through the seams in the defense. But certainly that would have to help his confidence. And I think it's important for your point guard, not necessarily to be a scorer, but he has to be able to keep the defense honest with penetration and by knocking down the opportunity jump shots he might get.
3 points, the lead for PC. Almost 4 minutes in. Michael Smith inside. That's going to call a little shuffle. Good position, bad feet.
Well, I'm not quite
Michael
sure.
says that's a bad call.
I'm not sure I don't agree with him because he fumbled the ball, but I don't think his feet were moving while he bobbled the ball.
Michael didn't say it quite that nicely. See that we get a push in the back on Donnie Marshall. That'll be the second team foul on UConn. Should get us to a timeout. And it does. We played just over 4 minutes. Good start for Rick Barnes' Friars on 3.
He's got a young squad. He doesn't have the inside presence he's had in past years. And Jim Calhoun likes quickness and long arm guys, and he's looking to develop those kind of players into his program now. Defensive points off their defense is really what's carried the Huskies to the success they've enjoyed the last few years, and right now struggling to find that.
Nice job by Abdullah to break the pressure, and then Alosa has scored 7 already.
The Friars, to me, look very relaxed. They're looking to take their shots when they're available. They don't seem to be uptight at all. And maybe when you're 1-5 and desperate for a win, the best thing to do is just to let it all hang out and play like you've got nothing to lose.
We have a foul here on Providence on the move on the baseline. Tony Turner's going to pick up his second foul. 14th foul. For the Friars, they'll bring Franklin Western into the game. There's a guy that came out of nowhere to play a big role in Miami the other night for them. And Brian Fair back in for UConn. Travis Knight, one of those big, long-arm people you're talking about that Jim Calhoun likes. 7-footer. Knight is in the game for UConn.
Jim Calhoun really likes him, said he's very skilled and he's going to be a fine player. But you're right, he does fit that description of being rather rangy.
Well, Jody Sylvester, lead official here tonight, got Knight on a bad screen. That's 3 fouls on UConn.
In an effort to get a little better defensive effort, Jim Calhoun has decided to go back to his zone traps a little more than he's shown.
Western, oh, look at that nice move, and he'll go to the line. And Jim Calhoun not happy with that foul call. That's Burrell. His first, team's fourth.
Attack any pressure for scores. Nice bounce pass, good catch by Western, and the nice up and under to draw the foul. Was that whistled on Burrell?
Yeah.
Jim Calhoun, dapperly attired. I complimented him on that blazer. That is a 5 on a 4-star system, that blazer. And the tie's not far behind.
It may not necessarily make great television. You're right, much better in person. 6-point lead here for Providence. And another thing we see early in the game, Clark, Rick Barnes changing his backcourt for this game has stayed with them. Abdullah and Alosa, not the shuttle system that we've normally seen.
Exactly, and I think that's so important as a player you've got to understand you're going to be out there on the floor and you can play through some mistakes. And I think Rick sometimes has to let his guys play until they're tired, as opposed to interchanging them early like he often does.
Providence, good job of getting back. 12-6, the Friars lead it. Almost 6 minutes gone. 3 turnovers already for UConn, but just 33% shooting. All night. Way off on the 3, and Western rebounds it. Last 5 shots off for UConn. Call Simpkins on the running start. Second turnover for PC. Troy Brown in for Providence, as you see the Ford scoreboard. And earlier today, non-conference battle, and the Hoyas got smoked out in Vegas. BC at Villanova tonight early on, and late in the first half. Pittsburgh already with 2 road wins this year in the conference, and they're at Miami, tied late first half.
Miami has 2 home wins, and it seems like the Miami Arena becoming a tough place for teams to play.
2 wins for Miami already, which is 1 more than they had in their entire conference debut. Providence was at Miami Tuesday night, and the Friars led by 16 points late in the first half. Wound up losing.
Yeah, they went dry, hit one of those dreaded air pockets and never recovered.
Now Michael Brown in for the first time for the Friars. Alosa sits. 12-6 for Providence.
See, because UConn doesn't really have a guy they can post up, and because they really don't have a number of great shooters, they're kind of caught in between in terms of what they're going to do offensively, and they have a tough time finding people to come through and score points for them in the half-court game.
Western in for the layup. Good fast break run by Providence. They lead by 8, and that's going to get a timeout from Jim Calhoun. The start for the Friars, a 14-6 lead. We'll be back as a copyrighted telecast produced by the authority of the Big East Conference, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Don't use it.
Brevity.
What you call legalese?
I'd say so.
call a bad shooting start for UConn.
And they haven't scored a basket in the last 6 minutes. And part of the reason they've struggled is because they're really not a good perimeter shooting team, and then they have no one that can really post up and take pressure off the perimeter game. So they struggle big time in the half-court offense against good, solid man-to-man defense employed by the Friars.
Danielle Marshall, Simpkins pinned him, but Marshall hits the hoop anyway.
Boy, Simpkins had him hemmed in and just kind of surrendered his position.
Now a turnover. 3 turnovers on each side.
There's a body out there we didn't expect to see it.
Yes, Eric Hayward, we were told, did not play. He is playing.
And that's an awful lot of body, too.
Troy Brown muscling him. Simpkins playing in front of Danielle Marshall. And there's Ali to knock one down.
I talk about an inside presence. That's an example right there. Eric Hayward catches it in the post. They're forced to double, and Ali gets a nice, easy 15-foot jump shot by virtue of the ball going inside, then back out.
Well, it was just 45 minutes before the game, and Jim Calhoun was so relaxed. Relaxation's gone.
Well, he said that's the reason he can talk to the folks in the stands and those of us in the media, because he knows during the game and certainly afterwards, because of the high level of intensity with which he coaches, he's probably one you don't want to talk to, especially if his Huskies haven't played well.
5 team fouls. And Simpkins with the jumper. First points for Simpkins, who averages 12 a game. Burrell. Oh, and then a horse collar going for the rebound. Hayward. And a forearm around the back of the neck of Troy Brown. That will be Hayward's second foul and the 6th on the Huskies.
Well, just what the doctor ordered for the Friars. Good, solid early start by virtue of shooting the ball well early.
You know, Clark, it's hard to, sometimes we don't see Providence play every game. It's hard to fathom sometimes they're 1-5 with a team that rebounds as well as they do at both ends of the court.
Well, I made the point early, when you're shooting 39% from the floor, you have a large number of opportunities to pound the offensive glass, but your point well taken in that when you have that kind of difference on the glass, you should be using that to get yourself some wins.
Nice move. Tony Turner back in the game with 2 fouls. 8-point lead. Providence has out-rebounded UConn 9-5 so far.
Providence mixing up their half-court defenses right now in the little matchup zone.
And the 3 by Brian Fair. If there's anybody on UConn's team that can give him an outside presence, it's Fair. Ball knocked away from Abdullah. And then he fouls Fair. And that's 2 on Abdullah. Now Alosa will come in. Abdullah, they forced him to pick his dribble up just across midcourt, a deadly spot.
Exactly. Excellent aggressive trap that time. And one of the places you want to trap the opposition by the Huskies.
10:20 to go in the half. Michael Brown got the ball. Now it is held, and possession will go to UConn.
Here you take a look. Marshall going to be surrounded by black jerseys as soon as he comes down. And that's Michael Brown with the good hands on the basketball.
Seemed like it was 300 inches long on that play. Oh, good putback, Michael Brown. Even the little guys crash the glass for Providence.
It becomes contagious.
Banner lost it going up. Western has it for Providence. Rudy Johnson is in the first time tonight for UConn. Look at the offensive glass again. This time Troy Brown called for traveling. They just crash it with abandon. It's amazing, Clark, a team that rebounds as aggressively. They crash like Providence. You'd expect they'd get burned at the other end. It hasn't happened for UConn.
Here you take a look at Danielle reach, rise, and rattle the rim. Young fellow going upstairs with authority. But to get back to the point you made, if in fact you're able to cleanly rebound the ball defensively because the Friars send everybody to the glass, you should get breaks.
Willingham missed inside. He's in for UConn. UConn has had no fast break points.
Part of that is due to the second and third shot opportunities by the Friars.
8:45 in the half, 5-point Providence lead. And a reach in, Johnson. That'll be the 7th UConn foul.
You know, a few UConn players playing with some nagging injuries. Rudy Johnson coming off an ankle problem. Scott Burrell, I don't know if he's been 100% healthy all season long. He's battled Achilles tendon problems, knee problems, a recent shoulder. Eric Hayward, we didn't expect to see him out there at all because of a recently sprained ankle. Travis Knight is just back from a shoulder injury, so the Huskies banged up in a lot of different places.
Troy Brown hits the front end. That's why I think perhaps some of the preseason picks for UConn may have been a bit optimistic. When you take Chris Smith, Rod Sellers away, and then Torino Walker, who quit after the first game, that's 3 seniors, in essence, gone from last year's team.
And what did you lose with those guys? With Sellers and Walker, you lost experience and inside toughness and presence. With Smith, you lost your go-to guy.
Right now, Burrell's tried to be the go-to guy. He is the only man with experience on what otherwise is a very young team.
And, you know, talking to Jim Calhoun about Scott Burrell, he said maybe his biggest injury is the fact that he's trying a little too hard. He may be pressing just a little bit, trying to lead this young Huskies team.
Troy Brown fouling his first 6th team. And Brown is out. Michael Smith back. So Providence with Michael Smith, their big horse inside, sitting down for a while, was able to keep this edge. Inside presence here for UConn. Hayward trying. Burrell is way short. Smith filling the lane. Charging foul. First on Smith.
Here you see Michael Smith storming down the lane. Now he needs to stop right there. He takes one extra step. And I can't quite see who that was that stepped in. Was that Brian Fair?
I believe it was Ollie.
Kevin Ollie stepped in and took the charge.
And that'll get us to a timeout. 7:46 to go in the first half. A 6-point lead for Providence. Mark Kellogg, Ted Robinson back at Gamble Pavilion and Stores, and it's been Providence in command from the outset. 6-point lead here. Aggressive on the glass, and it has paid off so far for the Friars.
Well, they've made 3 of those 5 offensive rebounds into 6 points, so if you can convert those putbacks at 60% or better, an extra bonus. That's one of the areas when you look at what Connecticut had to do coming into tonight to win this game, is that they need points off their defense, which they haven't been able to get. You've got the defensive rebound, which they haven't been able to do. And as a result, Providence has been in good position defensively to challenge things at the Connecticut Huskies offensive end.
UConn trying to beat this zone fair. Long rebound to Losa. Trying to get his team to play a little more aggressively on defense. Look at Alosa. Nice job. Held Ollie off and ran down the loose ball. And they converge on Simpkins, but Western picked it up and could not complete the play. A junior from the Bronx who has not played much until the last game. Franklin Western getting a good look here from Rick Barnes. Now Abdullah comes back. And Rob Phelps, starter much of the year for Providence. He's in for the first time tonight. 7 turnovers for the Friars. Burrell missed. Tip in. Hayward.
Scott Burrell.
Well, they announced Burrell, but that'll go to Hayward. Hayward gets the hoop. Smith lost it. 2-on-1. 3-on-1. Marshall.
That's who I'd be looking for if I had it in the middle on the break. With that 42-inch sleeve, give it to him somewhere inside of 15 feet, and he'll flush it for you.
Now the crowd's up at Storrs. They're in the game for the first time, and Fair's called for the bump.
Well, that was UConn's first transition hoop. And they need more of those.
Donnie Marshall coming back in. Here it is.
Good quick hands defensively. As you see here, Scott Burrell gets the paw in to initiate the break. Fair to Ali, looking for the condor. Danielle Marshall.
Man, that arm of Marshall's just goes up and keeps going. You wait for it to stop, and it just keeps going.
And you know what? He really gets off the floor. He's not just a reaching riser. He's got legitimate hops, too.
They want Fair to shoot. And Donnie Marshall, good job. Better play by Abdullah. And Providence has the ball.
Providence has been parked on 21 for a while.
Rob Phelps off the bench, knocks it down.
You can't do it much better than that. Nice little screen away from the ball. Phelps used it beautifully. Got himself a nice, wide open 15-footer.
By 25 in the half, Providence by 4. Ollie. That's a nice bonus for UConn. A putback by Kevin Ollie.
Well, anytime you're in a half-court zone defense, you're vulnerable to offensive rebounds, and Ollie just snuck inside behind the zone and got the putback. UConn showing their 1-3-1 half-court zone. They'll probably look to trap along the sideline.
Another PC turnover. Oh, Ollie got caught. Now it's Alosa. Simpkins going into the big guy. And that's out of bounds. And boy, Simpkins, no fear, took it right at Danielle.
Yeah, he certainly took it there, but he didn't have strength when he got up near the goal. He was off balance and didn't really get a good, strong look at it.
A nice play. Ollie caught Providence with their heads down. They weren't ready, and Ollie just flew right by him.
Dangerous portion of the game here for the Friars. They got off to the start they wanted, and now a team that's lost 5 of 6 conference games, when the heat is turned up, they start wondering about, are we going the wrong direction again?
They've been turnover plagued here on offense. Way off. Phelps, good battle, but it's out off him. And UConn will get it back. Now Rick Barnes, you can see, he's seen these kind of stretches before where his team goes 6, 7, 8 minutes with a hoop. And he's worried about that happening here.
And it's not a whole lot there's not a whole lot the coach can do about it. You need to find your key scorers and get them the ball. I think in a situation like this for the Friars, they've got to pull it out and try to throw it inside to Simpkins and Smith and then work around their interior play.
Losa almost creates a steal. Starting five is on the floor for UConn. Smith is sitting out right now for Providence.
And if you're UConn, you know you've got this struggling team reeling a little bit. So you really want to try to give them a good stiff jab and see if you can finish your work.
Donnie Marshall, no, it's wiped out. Kevin Ollie with the shot clock running down, took it to the basket. An offensive interference on Donnie Marshall. No hoop, timeout.
It was the right call. Donnie got it while it was still on the rack.
And we're down to 3:23, but UConn has gotten back to a tie. I wonder how much of a home court this feels like for the Huskies tonight. It's only the second game they've played here all season.
Well, Scott Burrell was quoted in one of the local papers as saying that it's more like a neutral court since we haven't been here for so long.
How about the Redmen, boy? Brian Mahoney, what a nice start he has gotten off to in the conference with his Redmen. And they're up on Syracuse tonight. Big week, though, St. John's. That's at Syracuse tonight, at BC Tuesday. Simpkins hits.
I think I told you during the break that they need to throw it inside to Simpkins and Smith. Good result there. But you want to try to play it inside out, especially when you start to struggle a little bit offensively. UConn's done a nice job of not gambling as much in their half-court zone defense, and thus they have been able to rattle the Friars the last few minutes and make this a much tighter game than it once was.
Kick ball and a reset. One thing to watch tonight for UConn without Cormier, although Hayward has played a little bit, still their bench is thin. Only 2 points so far off the UConn bench, 8 points off the PC bench.
Excellent point.
Danielle for three. Quickly Abdullah. A quick, nice move. Rob Phelps just froze Donnie Marshall.
Parked him and then put him away with the J.
So out of the timeout, 2 straight hoops for the Friars.
And good-looking shots, too.
They hit that spell where they started throwing the ball around, and after the timeout, they've regrouped. Donnie Marshall, first basket. He's played quite a bit of his first half with Michael Smith sitting. No foul troubles. He's just been sitting. Troy Brown. Going right back at it. And that will stay with the Friars on the arrow. Now Burrell is back for the Huskies. And Hayward comes back as well. Burrell 1 out of 7 so far, just 2 points. Another substitution shuttle at work here at 1:48 to play in the half. Another one on the floor. This one Providence. Simpkins. Oh, about 3 too many pump fakes. A lot of pump fakes this year, don't you think, Clark? College basketball?
In general, you mean?
Yeah. A lot of guys seem like they're getting into that multiple pump fake.
Oh, really? No, I hadn't really noticed that. And part of that is probably because it was one of my favorite moves that I played. But you're right, after you get past 2, it's probably not going to work. Here you see the scrum, and the Friars really lucky to get a shot. Well, they never did get a shot, but lucky to even have an attempted shot after Rob Phelps had thrown that initial pass to the floor.
1-and-1 here after the foul. Troy Brown's second, but Hayward can't put the foul shot down. shut down Phelps. A little different for Phelps trying to drive on Burrell. He's going to hang with him.
He's got enough quickness, and he's about 2 or 3 inches taller than Phelps.
Phelps hanging in the lane. Whoa! Playground.
Manufactures that one under pressure. Boy, nice stretch here for the Friars, who were reeling, and then out of that timeout have been able to get some good hoops down.
Final minute. No, Burrell is called. His second. Player control. Well, coming up at the half, if you haven't seen a Saturday Big East game yet, you'll enjoy our hoops reel. What happened in the past week. We'll also have our Big East halftime report and a recap of the first half here. Providence can hold here for the last shot. And the Friars lead by 4 with the ball. Shot clock is off.
Returning to the Friar lineup.
Michael Smith in here, along with Weston. And Alosa lost it. So it'll be UConn for the last shot. 11 Providence turnovers. And despite that high number, they still have the lead.
And you can credit their offensive rebounding for that. Relatively low-scoring first half, considering both of these teams come in averaging plus 70 points.
Danielle got it. Still time. Providence will have to hurry. Michael Brown will be short. So Danielle Marshall leads everybody with 10 points at the half, and that last hoop pulls the Huskies within 2. But a good first half for the Friars on the road. 29-27 Providence. Halftime comes your way after these words from our local stations. Basketball is brought to you by US Air. Every time we fly, everything we do. US Air begins with you. By John Hancock Financial Services. Real life, real answers. By Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds comes sharp products. By AT&T, the right choice. And by Apple, if you want a computer that's easy to use, there's still only one way to go. Macintosh, the easy way. The hometown UConn Huskies never led in the first half, so that's got to be a confidence builder for Providence. Clark come out here, score the first hoop, lead the entire way. Probably a little disappointed they don't have more than a 2-point lead.
I think so, but nonetheless, they hit a dry spell and were able to overcome that and go wire to wire in that first 20 minutes of action.
The shooting, Providence, the team that got the better of it in the first half, although the three-pointer was not a factor for either team.
Not really. 2 out of 13 total.
And of course, as always, Providence #1 rebounding team in the conference, and they had that same good rebounding margin in the first half.
Most of that on the offensive glass. They were +2 on the offensive glass in rebounds, +6 overall.
And another strength for Providence, the bench. UConn's bench did not score a point Monday against Georgetown, just 2 points in this half.
Well, you made the point in the first half how thin they were on that bench, and that's borne out in the numbers. Here we take a look at what Providence did in the early going to get the cushion they had. Simpkins from way out top, no go, long shots, missed, leads to long rebounds. Alosa tracks it down and then finds Michael Smith underneath. And this is what you call a rise and reach and wreck the rim. Danielle Marshall. Great pass from Kevin Ollie, by the way.
And he was the man in that first half. Big half for UConn by Danielle Marshall. Providence a little more spread out. Nobody in any foul trouble at halftime.
And that's certainly one of the keys for Providence as you take a look at individual leading scorers for Connecticut.
Backcourt did all right again. Ollie and Fair combined for 11. Connecticut will have the ball here as we start the half. 12-2 here in Gamble in Big East games for UConn, but they're down a basket to Providence in the half. Third straight game that the Friars have had the lead at halftime. The previous 2, they played poorly in the second half. Donnie Marshall. No, and Michael Smith clears it. It's got Alosa. Boy, that's a tough miss for Providence. Good rebound, Donnie Marshall.
Kevin Ollie got back into that play and bothered Alosa on the layup attempt. Never give up in transition, especially defensively.
This one is hit by Donnie Marshall. Well, instead of a 4-point PC lead, we are tied.
In the early going, UConn, in their half-court pressure, gambled a little bit and allowed Providence to get some nice, easy looks to start the game. Stayed at home a little better that trip.
Long rebound, Donnie Marshall. Burrell. And this time it's all Providence. Michael Smith. Simpkins. Block, Danielle. The long arms of the law for UConn strike again. And Burrell gives UConn their first lead of the game. And Smith fouled by Danielle Marshall.
The UConn players want to walk. Maybe Smith did take a hop, but he did what you need to do against the shot blocker, and that's take it right at his face. Don't give him any room so he can extend and get the ball after it leaves your hands. Take it right at him. And Smith did on a nice penetration from Abdullah.
Well, we asked in the first half, how could a team with rebounds as well as Providence be 1 and 5? And here's another reason. They do not shoot their fouls well. They had a game, this is hard to believe, they had a game against Seton Hall a couple weeks ago. As a team, Providence shot 37% from the foul line, 12 of 32.
Hard to believe it. But you and I were talking during halftime, and I think players at the college level and even at the high school level have gotten so caught up in being like Mike, like Drexler, like Barkley, guys that are entertainers, that they've forsaken the art of basic fundamentals, especially simply shooting the basketball.
And they're missing. Rebound, Simpkins. Abdullah pushing it. A good shot, didn't put it down. And fair the other way. And a big rebound, but Smith hit the deck with the ball, and that's a travel. Tried to give it up. Jody Sylvester said not in time. Another call that Michael Smith does not agree with.
Well, I think it was Michael Smith's own momentum that sent him to the deck.
Alosa got the hands in. There's a guy down here sitting who does the Providence radio games. It's got a cringe. Oh, nice catch. Franklin Western for the basket.
Boy, what about that look, too? Beautiful floating pass from Abdullah.
How do you think Joey Hassett feels when he sees a team shoot 39% from the floor and 60% from the foul line?
Yeah, you're right. He's over there cringing and wanting to suit up, probably.
Good blockout. Michael Smith. Abdullah. Whoa. That's a travel.
It certainly was an unconventional move, but I don't know if it was a walk.
Yeah,
sometimes if it looks strange,
I would have to say I don't think that was a walk.
I don't think so either. He was in the process of getting to the cup. Abdullah, I think they took one away from you there, partner. But often when you make a crazy-looking move up top, the official will assume and anticipate that you had to walk to get that kind of an advantage.
His feet in, Hayward. Fouled by Smith. That's the same thing we see about fouls. When you watch a replay of the basketball games, maybe half the time you see replay, there was no foul. But it looked like a foul.
Right,
And that's what the official calls.
Exactly.
He calls what looks like a foul.
And he doesn't have the benefit of replay monitors as we do.
Number 33 checks into the prior lineup, replacing Michael Smith.
Michael Smith going out now. Troy Brown in. Only the second foul on Smith. This will send UConn to the line, and in the entire game against Georgetown here Monday night,
They were 2 for 5?
Yeah, only had 5 foul shots the entire game.
Well, that points to the point I made earlier in that they really don't have an inside presence. And when you don't have one, it shows up in your inability to get good shots in the half court and also to get to the foul line. If you've got a good post-up player, he's going to force double teams, which means that somebody should be open when he catches it.
That's 5 now foul shots total for UConn tonight. Last Saturday at BC, they won. They had the big edge. UConn had the big edge in foul. Simpkin is in.
That's strong. Very strong. Good sit down. Good squat in the post by Simpkin. And a nice feed and finish.
There's a different kind of move, but strong in its own right by Danielle Marshall.
You'd wonder how somebody that thin could back anybody down, but he certainly did just by virtue of being aggressive.
Now, who perfected the squat move? I want to ask you that.
Who perfected it? No, no.
You?
No, but I knew how to catch it in there because I like to score. If you want to score, you got to learn to catch the ball. Good passes and bad ones.
We're looking at a timeout here. So it is UConn. Depleted all during the first half. They now go to our first break of the second half, up a point. And UConn with a 1-point lead, but here's that squat move.
Sitting down in the post, good catch. Excellent pass away from the defender, then the nice finish by Dickie Simpkin. And then here's a nice catch in traffic by Danielle Marshall. Then he just backs. Who was that? It was Troy Brown, actually, who got back down under the goal, and Danielle Marshall able to finish inside.
Well, Providence again going through a stretch here where Michael Smith is sitting. Going with Western, Brown, and Simpkins up front. A rare shot by Abdullah and a rebound Hayward. Opportunity for the Huskies now to spread themselves a little bit, get a little room. Ollie. Oh boy, Danielle. Oh, that's Hayward who got a big, and there's a bigger block. But Danielle follows.
He's been outstanding all season long. Very consistent. Second in the Big East in block shots. Coming off back-to-back double-doubles, points and rebounds.
And now Clark, it's UConn crashing the glass a little bit. And a foul there, reaching in. They're going to get Simpkins. Well, here's where Providence has had their troubles last 2 games. Bad second half, and now it is a 3-point UConn lead with the ball. Michael Smith is back in.
Michael Smith, 34 round.
Oh, boy, that ball was up in the air a long time. Ollie right down to Hayward. Largest lead, 5 points UConn. And Rick Barnes needs a timeout. Second half has been all UConn in the first 5 minutes and 48 seconds. We're back to Stores after these words from our local station.
McDonald's has a handy way to order.
+5 at the 14-12 mark. Kevin Ollie gets to the heart of the defense, then drops a dime on the big fella. Mark it up.
And mark it all for UConn so far. Down 2 at the half. Now they're up 5. And it's been UConn on the offensive glass. 4 offensive rebounds thus far in this half. None for PC.
That was Eric Hayward on the flush, fans.
Michael Smith way out the corner. Abdullah and Michael Brown, the guards, 10 to shoot. Good feed. And no, Smith can't get it to drop, but he is fouled.
Well, you can see based on who the Friars have in the game that their intentions there were to get it inside. Abdullah has taken 8 shots in 5 and 6 Big East games, so you know he's not looking to shoot it. And Michael Brown, more of the pass first mentality as well. So
I'll tell you, this guy, only 3 points tonight for Michael Smith. He does have 9 rebounds, but he gives a lot of points away at the foul line.
He gets there quite a bit. I mean, he shoots 7 to 8 free throws a game. And if he could just get that up to the 70% range, I think he's right about mid-high 50s from the line now.
He had 14 offensive rebounds against Seton Hall 2 weeks ago. That's unbelievable.
That's a lot of second shots.
7 for Brian Fair tonight. And the lead stretching again, now 6 for UConn. Smith in again, doesn't get it down. Another try. He does not quit.
Tenacious, and he wants it. They need to find him every trip. At least let him get a touch. And then feed off of his ability to draw double teams in the low post.
Especially now, Hayward has 3 fouls. So they have a shot, BC, to get him out of the game. Here's a steal by Smith. 3 on 2. Simpkins.
Beautiful.
8 points for Simpkins. He's the leading PC scorer. Playing Ollie, and he still goes in. Well, that's got to frustrate your defense. They're not even playing Ollie. They're 5 feet off him, and he still drove the ball right to the hoop.
Inexcusable. If you're going to lay off a guy that far, the last thing he should be able to do is get to the hole. Give him one or the other. You can't play in no man's land and allow a guy to have a look at a jump and then beat you off the dribble.
On the Ford scoreboard, you see what's going on elsewhere in the Big East. My goodness, BC up on the road in St. John's. Big lead on the road. BC, big lift for the Eagles. Gerard Abram back with the team, reinstated and in uniform tonight.
Talking about BC and the re-entry of Gerard Abram, I think if they have him, they probably win 2 or 3 more games because of his quickness and his explosiveness at both ends of the floor.
Phelps in the game now for Providence, replaces Michael Brown. Simpkins just picked up a 2nd foul. 3 team fouls on the Friars. UConn with the ball, leading 2. Another rebound. Boy, Michael Smith.
He was screaming when that ball was still on the goal, "It's mine," and then went in there and took it. Oh, my.
We got a foul away from the ball. Well, you're thinking like about Michael Smith. He backs it up, doesn't he?
That's what you call cheering the boards.
Now the leading rebounder in the conference last year, 2nd this year.
As soon as Marshall shoots this, it's on the rack. Michael Smith says, it's mine. Get back, fellas. I've got the orange. And then he went and got it. He's had his hand in the last couple of Friar hoops.
Meanwhile, Danielle Marshall just picked up his 3rd foul. And immediately goes out of the game. Western. Phelps. Nice feed. Western draws the foul. Providence will have a chance to tie at the line.
It's not really hard to figure it out. If you're a fan, you're sitting back watching this. Michael Smith has touched the ball initially the last 3 to 5 possessions, and they've all ended in positive fashion for the Friars. So I think you've got to figure out how to get it to him. Even if he doesn't score, he's going to draw a double or triple team, and then with just good ball movement and player movement, you should get good looks at the hoop.
BC just
and obviously this
agony.
Exactly.
At the line. Not for Jim Calhoun, but for Rick Barnes. 4 out of 10 at the line tonight for Providence.
Well, this guy's given UConn a pretty good lift off their bench, Eric Hayward. Giving him a presence.
Especially for a guy one's supposed to play.
Right, yeah, really.
1 point, UConn lead. Johnny Marshall turned and lost it and travels. That's a travel. He turned into Simpkins. Turnover gives it right back to the Friars. It was interesting tonight. It's been a little bit over the last couple of games. The guy that has completely disappeared for the Friars is Trent Forbes, senior guard, and he lit it up to beat Arizona this year. Barely played at Miami, hasn't played tonight, and there is a basket and a foul counted for Simpkins.
Little high-low action. And again, the initiator, Michael Smith. Throw it down to the baseline. Simpkins just going to make a quick flash cut to the goal. Found by his teammate Smith. Then the two-hand flush and the foul. And there you see Michael Smith, and he has had his hand in the offensive cookie jar.
Did you say, Clark, that UConn didn't fare very well when Danielle Marshall was on the bench for those 2 minutes?
He's their most consistent player all around when you talk about what he gives them. Scoring the basketball, defending, rebounding.
And Danielle just came back in the game. Another missed foul shot, but Smith with a long rebound. So Providence has regained the lead and possession. Down 6 just a moment ago. The way Providence shoots the foul line, that may not be such bad play. As long as you can spread those fouls out.
Well, certainly it might not result in a bad situation because of their poor free throw shooting, but defensively you want to make sure you're in position with your feet, and that's the fourth on Scott Burrell.
That's not good. Not a good foul. 4 on Burrell with 10:53 to play. 6 on UConn. Smith inside. Smith got that down. 8 points for Michael Smith. And it's a 9-point swing in about 2 minutes for Providence. They're up 3.
UConn having a tough time figuring out where to go for their offense, especially with Danielle Marshall having been on the bench the last couple of minutes.
Good give up. Little Western pulled the string on the shot, though. Smith was going to get in trouble, and he gave the ball up. Rudy Johnson. First basket for Rudy Johnson. That ends a 9-point Providence run. Simpkins got Danielle out on him. And what are we going to get here? A charging foul. Nope, Jody Sylvester's going to wave off the foul and call a traveling violation. No foul, it's a walk on Simpkins.
Boy, Dickey stumbled his way to the basket. Let's take a look now. He's going to get out of control. No walk there. And I guess
not really a walk there either. The Providence take that. They'll take the walk over.
Exactly, versus the foul for sure. Simpkins actually had an open jump shot on that drive.
Oh. Fair beat his man. Couldn't get it home. And that's a held ball that goes to Providence. 9:34 remaining.
Well, you take a look at it. Fair on the drive. And then it gets jammed in the crotch of the goal.
Simpkins. Well, he walked there when he came down with the ball. Can you believe, Clark, the last time DC beat UConn about 3 years ago was 108 to 102.
Yeah, right.
Not going to get there tonight.
We're not going to have a total of 108 points the way it's going right now.
Three for Danielle. 17 for Marshall, and UConn back up by 2. 9 minutes remaining. Abdullah has been the man that Rick Barnes has said in the second half. You run it.
They've done a nice job throwing it inside to get positive shot opportunities.
Phelps wants it. And Turner has the rebound for Providence, but he threw a lazy pass. And Abdullah will send Donyell Marshall to the line. Third foul on Abdullah.
Well, you really like the versatility of this young man's game, Donyell Marshall. He rejects shots, he'll board the ball for you, and he can score inside and out. And you called it perfectly, a lazy, floating, dying quail of a pass, and Marshall just steps in and then knows he's got the size advantage on Abdullah and just took the little fella to the rack and forced the foul. But this guy has been steady as flowing water.
And on this night where Burrell has not contributed much and now sits with 4 fouls, Donyell's contribution is even more necessary.
Exactly.
8:33 to play.
Excellent free thrower. Good demeanor, never seems to get rattled, always seems to be under control. Plays within himself extremely well for such a young player.
Now PC goes to more of a 3-guard look as Alosa is in with Abdullah and Phelps.
On penetration by Abdullah, you've got 2 guys now, Phelps and Alosa, capable of burying the 3 for you.
Nice feed in. Oh, Rudy Johnson up for the big block. But Smith very calmly just took it back out.
Abdullah needs to, oh, nice look.
And Turner hit.
Excellent spacing against the zone. Nice flash from the weak side to the strong side. But the point I was about to make is that Abdullah can take a little more at the top of the circle against the Husky zone.
It's a 2 for fair.
Take a look right here. Let's see if we can demonstrate this. He can squeeze to right about the top of the 3-point circle instead of staying out beyond that. See, look, he can squeeze in a little more so he doesn't have such a long pass to make.
Now UConn with the ball on a 4-point lead. 7.5 to play.
I think you've got to find a way to let Donyell Marshall touch it. Or free up this guy here, Brian Fair, for the 3.
There are those long arms of Donyell. You expect him to get it, well, he kept it alive. Oh, Ali all the way with the left. A great stop by Phelps. Offensive foul. By Phelps made an unbelievable stop to keep from walking, and then he's called for a charge. And that'll get us to a timeout, and again, a tough time now for Rick Barnes and the Friars. Crowd up, less than 7 to play. And UConn up 6. We're back after these words from our local station.
We are at the 3-quarter pole. UConn by 6. Take a look at Kevin Ollie on the penetration and shot manufacture right there. Across his body, under pressure. Robert Phelps makes a nice move here to avoid Fair, but Rudy Johnson does a nice job stepping in to draw the charge, and he loved it. Loved it. Good work by Rudy Johnson to get back and in position.
Critical juncture for the Friars to stay in the game. And they get a steal. Abdullah knocked it free. He's going in. Give it up to Phelps. Phelps will be at the line. UConn foul. And that's got Calhoun dancing in disgust.
Be careful, Jim. Be careful. You don't want to rip that blazer.
Is that as good as the one Chuck Daly was wearing in that halftime commercial?
Oh, it was right in, it was in the same league. It was in the same league.
Third foul on Donnie Marshall. Rob Phelps, 43% foul shooting.
When you look at some of the shooting numbers for the Friars, especially from the line, I mean, Phelps is a good-looking shooter. It's about selection and confidence. And I think he's gotten better in his shot selection. Now he just needs, he made 3 of 3 in the first half, so a couple of efforts like that, and I think you'll see this young man really shoot the ball the way he's capable of.
Now Phelps out, Western is back. Burrell back for UConn with 4 fouls. We have 6:42 to play.
Providence in the man-to-man, which has primarily been their defense here in the second half. But they've already committed 17 fouls, so they'll have to be aggressive without fouling down the stretch.
Ryan Fair around the screen, has 11.
Can take a little more space. He can pinch himself into the top of the circle area there.
Smith pulling his way in. Out to Providence. Especially because I think would UConn sag off him if he did that?
I think they would. I think they still back up a little bit, and then you're looking at maybe a 17-footer and easier passes to your wings, both right and left.
Wow, Pitt's 3rd road win already. Look at Smith, just took the ball away. Basket counts and a foul, but we have Western down for Providence. Boy, a big flurry there. Smith with the hoop. Danielle Marshall's 4th foul and an injured player.
Well, here you take a look at Smith. Just tenacious. Will not be denied. Just housing his way to the basket. Right up into Danielle Marshall, got the hoop, and drew the foul. That's just tremendous work. Persistence pays inside, and rebounding is as much timing, strength, and quickness as it is attitude, and he may have the best rebounding attitude in the Big East.
Does he have a game face or what?
Oh, yeah, big-time scout. And that scout ranks right up there with some of the best in the land. But it's no good to have a scowl without a game. And he's got a little bit of both.
Right now, Danielle Marshall's got to sit. That's 4 on Danielle. Smith will be at the line at 5:47 remaining. It appears that Western had the wind knocked out. He's sitting on the side now. Smith, 14 rebounds tonight, trying for his 11th point. Whoa, backboard still shaking.
Well, that's a big 4th foul because Burrell playing with 4 for UConn and Danielle Marshall, their most consistent offensive threat, now has to sit at least for another couple of minutes. You would expect Brian Fair to be the guy now in addition to Scott Burrell.
15 to shoot. Good defensive set by Providence. That's a 3. Rebound Smith. We'll go under 5 minutes. Providence with the ball. UConn turned up that defensive pressure a bit. Molly pushing Abdullah outside. Looking for Smith. Over Hayward.
Going to the right-hand jump hook.
Well, you called it early in this half. The game turned back for Providence when they started going into him.
You've got to let your main guy touch it because he's the one that's most disconcerting to the opposition.
Whoa, Donnie Marshall cranked one. Can Ollie save it? 2, Providence. Friars with a chance to tie. Smith again. No, and Burrell clears. Big chance there for the Friars. Now we're under 4 minutes. You see, especially without Danielle Marshall there, Providence getting it in at will.
Well, he's the shot blocker for the Huskies.
Let's go Huskies! Let's go Huskies! Let's go Huskies!
Ollie, one man. 10 points for Kevin Ollie. They got a foul inside. They got Donnie Marshall against Smith. That is the 4th on Donnie. So now the 3 starting front court men for UConn all have 4 fouls. And that is the 9th UConn foul, which is also key because every subsequent Husky foul will give the Friars 2.
Right in the middle of your screen, take a look. Boy, not an awful lot of contact. Maybe Michael Smith with a bit of
He'd take Luke Gaines lessons, huh?
a bit of a flop there. But he certainly got what he desired, and that's a trip to the line.
It's a 1-and-1. The key for a team that doesn't shoot their fouls well as Danielle comes back. Now, every Husky foul the rest of the way, Friars get an automatic 2.
Okay, guys, 1 to shoot.
And that should take a little bit of the pressure off of the very poor free throw shooting we've seen from the Friars.
Danielle Marshall on the rebound. So we're going under 3:20. 3-point Husky lead.
The Huskies just going to spread it out for Ollie and allow him to beat his man off the dribble either for a shot for himself or for a dish upon drawing defenders inside.
Nice drive, give to Hayward. Ollie has been beating Abdullah on the dribble the whole second half.
Well, the last 2 possessions, he got a shot for himself, and that time drew defenders and got it to the big fella, Eric Hayward.
Simpkins are going right at Danielle. Give to Michael Smith. Charging foul. Offensive on Smith. He turns that scowl on the officials too, doesn't he?
He doesn't discriminate.
That's going to be a timeout. Rick Barnes was asking, what's the difference? The play at one end of the play at the other. Right now, it's a 5-point Husky lead. With Clark Kellogg, Ted Robinson in Stores, where UConn leads by 5. Michael Smith has been a warrior for Providence, but the Friars continue to struggle at the foul line, and Danielle Marshall has been the warrior for UConn.
He's been outstanding. Rock solid, both ends of the floor. And you know, 9 of those.
Good recovery there. Michael Brown knocked it out from Fair, saved a hoop.
We just saw where Providence 8 of 17 from the free throw line. Of those 9 misses, 3 or 4 are front ends of 1-and-1. So just to embellish that free throw stat we just saw. Well, the spread has been effective the last 2 possessions. The Huskies have gotten 4 points out of it. And Ollie, an excellent guy to have operating the point for you in this situation.
They've really burned time while they've done it.
Exactly.
Burn time and then get points.
Excellent point.
See the shot clock. Fair. Oh, big failure to rebound by Providence. That could really hurt the Friars. They had the rebound and didn't wrap it up.
Everybody thought somebody would get it, and nobody did for the Friars. Here's the shot by Fair. See, Abdullah thinks Phelps is going to get it. Phelps thinks Abdullah is going to get it. And then Scott Burrell jumps in and gets it, and then gets fouled on top of it.
Michael Brown's first foul. 7th team, so it's a 1-and-1 for Burrell at exactly 2 minutes to play.
Very quiet tonight. This would be only his 2nd game in single digits all season long.
4 points, 4 rebounds is all has been for Burrell. So the Friars stay alive on that foul shot miss.
And I really think the nagging injuries, not to cut you off, Ted, that Scott Burrell has had all season playing a part in his quiet night tonight.
Oh, big three, Michael Brown. Now it's back to a game. 2 points. They close in on 90 seconds. That was a huge swing. Burrell missing the front end, and the Friars get 3 at the other end.
Well, the danger in this is you've got to capitalize when you're looking to milk the clock. See, we're down now to maybe 2 to 4 possessions, just depending on what happens here, and factoring in maybe some fouls to stop the clock.
Well, first we get a timeout to stop the clock. With 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining, 15 on the shot clock, and a 2-point Husky lead. Big number right now is really the shot clock on the left. UConn knowing in this timeout they have 15 to shoot once they inbound. Friars have 2 timeouts left, UConn 1.
Let's try to doctor up this play that may have been called by UConn. I would think they'd spread the floor. They've had success there. Donyell Marshall, Brian Fair, probably the guys to watch.
Donyell. Oh, that's a 3. Donyell Marshall hits his second three-pointer. A dagger shot, perhaps. Phelps knocked out. And it's UConn ball. Burrell made the play. Now Providence will have to foul. 44.7 seconds, so the shot clock's out. UConn ball leading by 5. And the Friars take a timeout. For UConn on one end, and those guards ought to be a little embarrassed because he's probably their best three-point shooter.
Well, here you take a look at Ali penetrating, little pseudo penetration, and there you saw the right foot of Donyell Marshall. Looked like it was right on the line, but he got the 3 points anyway. And
there was a little indecision on the part of the officials. A couple of conflicting signals, but they did finally signal 3. Donyell Marshall has 22, 1 shy of his career high, and Abdullah fouls on the inbounds. And all Providence can hope for now are some misses at the line by UConn, which is a good foul shooting team.
Yeah, UConn shooting the ball at 72% from the line.
They're 6 out of 8 at the line tonight.
Well, a nice quarterbacking job by Kevin Ollie here in the second half, especially the last 5 possessions, really, because they've gotten something positive in their spread offense because he's quarterbacked it extremely well.
Bunch of changes here for Providence. But it comes down to Ollie at the line. This is a 1-and-1. It's the 8th foul on Providence. 10 points, 9 assists tonight. Oh, the long rebound is Burrell's. And Phelps has to foul. Well, that really hurts again. A couple of just crushing blows to PC here in the last minute. That uses up their last 1-and-1 foul now.
Well, I would bet that Ollie will make at least the first of 2 to have an opportunity to redeem yourself right away after missing a free throw. Typically leads to making the next one.
And here, a foul shot, a made foul shot, makes it a 3-possession game, 38.5 seconds. Couple of big scoring games for Kevin Ollie. 15 Monday, 12 tonight.
How about the assist, though?
And this one now should belong to the Huskies. Donyell going in is fouled by Tony Turner. 25 seconds.
What a game he's had. Donyell Marshall. We were going to give out game balls. Certainly he'd get one, and so would Kevin Ollie.
Burrell's supposed to be the leader. But tonight, Danielle's had to be the leader.
Danielle stepped up in fine fashion, and you can't say enough about the fine play of Kevin Ollie. A gritty effort by the Huskies. Started slow and got back in it before the half. And now able to pull away in the last minute and a half or so by virtue of a couple of big shots and some made free throws here.
25 seconds. Boy, and that is a new career high for Danielle Marshall, 24 points.
Well, that career high will be surpassed quite a few times between now and his career ending.
Michael Smith with a basket, last Providence timeout taken with 15.3 seconds left, but at 7 points. This is going to be a UConn win. And just looking back here, it's 65-58, Clark. The last time these teams played a game this low scoring was February 4th of '89. Providence won 65-61. The last couple of years, this has been in the 80s, 90s, in that January '91 game at Hartford when Providence won 108-102.
It's been a grinded out affair tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, these road wins keep piling up in the conference. Pittsburgh won its third road game tonight over Miami, and BC wins at Nova.
Pitt didn't get out of there easily, did they?
No. Georgetown lost non-conference this afternoon. Hoya's now 11-3 overall. You try to explain BC's season to me. BC is now 3-1 on the road, 1-2 at home.
Hard to figure.
Pittsburgh in that plus-minus that a lot of people use to rate a conference. Pittsburgh leads the Big East. They are +3 right now, the only team at that. If St. John's wins at Syracuse tonight, they'd be a +2. 15 seconds. UConn ball up 7. Providence can't stop the clock again. Michael Brown fouled it. Providence will play it out, but there's really nothing they can do here. Providence bring Trent Forbes in the game here with 15 seconds to play. The senior who has started a lot of games in his Providence career, and he was on the floor for the first time tonight. A little bit of a changing, literal changing of the guard taking place in the Friar program.
Kevin Ollie at the line shooting 2 shots.
Ollie will shoot 2 here on the 10th Providence foul. So Jim Calhoun's team to 4-3 in the conference. Providence will drop to 1-6. And they'll play another 1-6 team in Villanova Monday night. Civic Center. Phelps hits a 3. Nothing Providence can do though. Out of timeouts. 2 seconds and a foul at midcourt. Well, the fast non-conference start for Rick Barnes' team. Really forgotten now. And it's the second straight year they've gotten off to a rough start in the Big East.
Well, we all know that conference time is when the attention and the scrutiny gets the toughest.
Coach's son gets his first appearance. Jeff Calhoun is in.
Also from Connecticut, Oliver Macklin, number 11.
And Macklin comes in as well. 2 seconds left, and Kevin Ollie goes back to the line. On the Ford scoreboard, Syracuse rallying at home. And Redmond hold that 4-point lead. St. John's will be at Boston College on Tuesday night. And UConn will be at Miami Tuesday night. That ties Ollie's career high that he set on Monday. 15 points tonight. And that'll do it on Michael Brown's dribble. here at Gamble Pavilion in Stores. A tough battle for UConn. Down at the half on their home floor, but they prevail 68-61. And for Providence, third straight game in which they have the halftime lead and can't win.
Just can't make enough big plays or shots on a consistent basis, and what ends up happening there is you're in games, but you end up on the bottom side of the scoreboard anyway.
Along with Clark Kellogg, this is Ted Robinson from Gamble Pavilion in Stores. Again, our final score is Connecticut 68, Providence 61. Thanks for being with us. The preceding has been a Big East Conference Television Network production.